Delivered the biggest performance by a Nats starter this season. 7 shutout innings, setting up a critical series opening win against the Braves. Tonight, a chance to improve on his 13-6 record and beat the Mets for a third time. Don't look away for a second or you might miss the best part. Welcome to Citi Field, which is starting to look like Nats Park North. We got National fans all over the place. Yeah, they come in groups of a half dozen or more. Families are coming to root on their Nationals. And then we've got just a bunch of guys who like hanging out with each other. And why not? They know the Braves lost today. Nationals are 9 up on Atlanta. The magic number now is down to 7. And if you could pick a guy to win a ball game that you need to win or you want to win this time of the year, who better than Doug Fister after what he did to the Braves?
Well, yeah, I mean, a clutch outing he's coming off of last time, and Doug Fister has been the guy. I mean, quite frankly, he's got all the pennant race experience. He's got the postseason experience, and he definitely has the World Season experience to show for it. And you look at the numbers, 4 starts, a 4-0 record against the Mets, 29 and third inning. So he's had absolute ownage of this ball club, and we're looking for some more of that here tonight.
Yeah, looking for a guy who can win games against teams in your own division, because really every time you play a team in your own division, it's like a 2-game swing. So Fister, 13-6 on the year. Right now, his 2.53 ERA would be the 3rd lowest in the league if he has enough innings to qualify, and he will shortly tonight. He visits with FP when we come back to New York.
Be joined by Doug Fister. Haven't talked to you all year. Thanks, Doug.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you.
How has this been? The last month, getting close. I mean, there's a temptation maybe to look ahead a little bit, but you got to take care of business, and you got some left.
We do have to take care of business. We're definitely feeling the excitement, feeling the end of the season rush. I mean, it's one of those things that it's inevitable. You got to feel it. You get the adrenaline. You get sometimes the anxiety of what do we have to do, and it's really just comes down to we really need to focus on our day-to-day tasks and come out here and be ready to win every day and do that.
And the more I'm around you, I feel like the bigger the game, the better you are Is there more of a focus in the big games, or you feel the responsibility, or you just live for those moments?
I think for me, it's almost opposite. The bigger the game, the more I try and relax. The more I try to take this one pitch at a time, and literally one pitch at a time. It's something that you can't get too wound up. You can't try and do too much and focus on too big of a thing. You really got to take it step by step and go back to your basics, and that's something that's helped me through some of the experiences that I've had so far.
There's a lot of young guys on this team with a little bit of playoff experience. Do you ever impart that kind of wisdom on them? The bigger the game, maybe how to slow things down? There
are times when I'm sitting there talking to guys and kind of interject that, not intentionally, but just kind of slowly try and share some experiences with them, and hopefully that kind of soaks in and brings it to their brain when it's time for them to go out there and perform.
Well, speaking of big games, your last start against the Braves, I thought the signature moment of this season, when a team's winning and they're doing special things, there's always that one moment. And, Goosebump City when Matt Williams came out to the mound. Take us through that. What did the skipper say to you? And you saw the Yeah Baby signs the next day. I'm sure you did.
Yeah. That was something that, I really wanted. I wanted to stay in that game. As soon as I saw him come out there, I know that he's never left a pitcher in before. And so it's immediate, question of yourself saying, oh man, I'm coming out of the game. But as soon as he got there, he looked me in the eye and asked me how I was doing, if I wanted the next guy, and I just obviously everybody kind of knows what I've said, but it was really I wanted him. I wanted to face Simmons. I wanted to get out of that inning and really just kind of complete that start.
In my experiences, I've never seen a pitcher say I'm done. So Matt Williams really had to have a lot of faith in you. Have you ever told a manager, I'm good, go to the bullpen?
No, I don't think I've ever spoken it, but I think it's something like Skip said. He wanted to look in my eyes. He wanted to read my face, and that's something, if you're completely convicted and you tell them you're good, you're ready to keep going, they know that. And there's times when you tell them you're good, but you're really not good, and they know that too. And there's times when you need to come out of the game, and that was something that he read, and I'm very grateful for.
When Matt Williams turned around and went back to the dugout, maybe the loudest I've heard Nats Park all season long, did that give you a shot of adrenaline to get that last out?
Absolutely. The fans feel it, the team feels it, guys on the field feel it. It's something that you kind of build off of. You have to take that energy, learn how to harness it, and really just kind of utilize it in the best way possible. And that, for me, was to take a second, kind of look around, accept that everybody's on their feet yelling and ready to go. That's something that we especially with this last 20 days, we want that. We want the stands to be loud. We want to feel that atmosphere that everybody's involved, everybody's in it, and that's something you feed off of.
You heard it, Nats fans. They need your help coming down the stretch. You can't be loud enough. That's great stuff. Well, we always have fun with how fast you work. Fastest pace in the National League, second fastest in all of baseball. I have my stopwatch up there. I've timed you between 7 and 8 seconds at times between pitches. Talk about working fast, and have you ever worked too fast?
I like to work fast. Number one, being a position player in college, it was something that you want to stay on your toes. You want to be ready. As soon as things start to slow down too much, guys are on their heels. You don't play as well a defense as you can, and that's something for me. I utilize my defense as much as possible. I'm going out there, I'm trying to get bad contact from hitters, and I want my defense to be on their toes, so I try and work fast. It's worked into something for me that it works as a timing mechanism to keep me in line. When I'm out of whack, whether I'm going too slow or, yes, I do come too fast at times, I have, some tempo, keys that I key off of, and I need to know those things, and that's something that works well for me. I work fast. I try and get back up on the mound as soon as possible, but when I go too fast, it's when my delivery gets too fast. So I have to dial that back a notch at times.
Well, guys love playing behind guys that work fast, throw strikes, incorporate the defense, and you see all the great plays behind you. And you've probably been sitting here far too long. So thank you very much for the interview. Best of luck the rest of the way, and I always enjoy you every fifth day.
Appreciate it.
All right, Bobby, you had enough. He was here way too long. Working fast as usual. Back to you.
He gone. Well, that's Doug Fister for you. Hey, I like that term. Now we can say a guy is pitching to bad contact. We talk about pitching to contact. This takes it to a whole nother thing, and there's Doug getting everybody ready for his start. Visit trainsearch.com. Find your local Train Comfort Specialist dealer. Hard to stop a train, really hard. So at the ballpark, It is 66 degrees. It is quite muggy because it's been raining most of the day. But they got the field playable. Everything looks fine. Radar earlier indicated the weather was moving out of here. We'll see about that. So here's the lineup with Anthony Rendon. 15 times, 3 hits or more in a game. Only 5 players in baseball have done it more frequently. Rendon, 162 hits, Span 171. Rendon, 107 runs, Span 90. These guys are catalysts, they're table setters, whatever term you want to use at the top of the lineup. Zach Wheeler, 2-4, 6 career starts against the Nats.
Yeah, big fastball power guy. Watching his last start against the Reds, he was throwing 96 to 98 miles an hour. The slider 90 to 91. And he's a guy that has really matured this season for the Mets, able to work through adversity. He'd have a bad inning, the wheels would fall off, so to speak. But 72 walks on the year, Carp. That's second most in the National League, third most in Major League Baseball. By comparison, Gio leads the Nats with 54 walks. So, game plan against Wheeler, maybe not first pitch hack and get him in the strike zone, but all of his pitches are plus. Defense for the Mets tonight: Young, Lagares, Granderson, your outfield. Flores, Murphy left side, Herrera, Duda right side, and Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Denard Span in this series has been on base 4 times. 3 hits. He's been hit by a pitch. It's game 3, series even so far. And if you weren't with us when we joined you 11 minutes ago, the Braves lost another one at Texas today, and the magic number is 7. Nats have a 9-game lead in the East. Span hitting .301. We are underway. Ball 1 low at 7-11. And 16-year veteran Bill Welke has the plate. Crew chief Paul Emmel over at third. John Tumpain second base. James Hoy first. Ball 2.
You're in a pennant race. You can't lose 2 games to a 92 lost ball club. It just can't happen.
Talking about the Braves, yeah.
And just to show you how good the Nats are going, since they lost last night after the game was over, their magic number went from 9 to 7, and they did nothing but go back to the hotel.
How about that? Yeah, the game over in Texas last night after this one was, and then on the bus on the way over here, you gain another half game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You can see the rain pelting down pretty well. So the National League's raced. It is 7 for the Nats. The Braves would have to go unbeaten if the Nationals play, I don't know, what, 425 ball or 375 ball, something like that. 2-2, and we know that's not going to happen. Span up the middle. They've been playing him that way with the second baseman. So Dilson Herrera barely had to move. Anthony Rendon has had an amazing series. 3 hits in both games so far.
Yeah, he's been absolutely locked in. 3 knocks the first night, a home run. And then 3 knocks last night, and guess what? A home run. That's number 20. I mean, who's better than this guy in all of baseball as we speak?
He's raised his batting average from 279 to 285 in 2 days, and you can't do that as a rule this time of the year.
Those are some gaudy numbers.
He's 4 for 11 career with a pair of walks against Zach Wheeler, who on the year is 10-9, making his 30th start, and an ERA of 3.38. Falls behind his second hitter.
Well, my favorite number of all of them with Anthony Rendon is games played 141. And runs scored 107. I guess I should have said numbers, but yeah, both those.
And he flips it the other way. So Rendon, along with his 162 hits, 4th in the league in doubles. And of course the extra base hits in this series, 63 on the year. That's top 3. So Mike Trout scored a couple of runs last night, but he can't catch Rendon. A challenge to keep everything dry out there. It's been a steady drizzle pretty much since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. The other steady drizzle in town, another hit by Anthony Rendon.
Yeah.
7 for 11 in this series.
Just going to say, it's raining hits. You know, all those hits we just showed you to the pull side, and now Rendon says, you know what, they'll probably try me away tonight, and I'll just go to right. It's that easy.
I'll just get the sweet spot on it, take it the other way.
It's just, it blows my mind every day to see how simple his approach is, that there's just so little to it. Foot down, bat quick, letting the ball travel, never really out in front. I mean, how many really bad swings has he taken this year? Like where he's really fooled and just looks like, really? It doesn't happen.
Jason Worth back in there after not feeling well yesterday. There's been some flu running through the clubhouse. And in this series, Thursday night, 1 for 3, hit by a pitch and a walk. So his on-base percentage is the 5th highest in the National League at .383. Well, you can tell how Wheeler and the Mets want to pitch Worth. Outfield around to the right some. Way off the line in left Young. Sizable gap in left center, and that was a breaking ball that stayed down.
So Anthony Rendon needs 5 more steals to have 20 stolen bases to go along with his 20 home runs. Ian Desmond needs 1 more steal to be 20-20. The only time an infield, the left side of an infield has been 20-20, it was 2004 with the Yankees, and it was Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter. How about that stat? Rodriguez had 36 home runs and 28 stolen bases, and Derek Jeter had 23 home runs and 23 stolen bases. It's the only time it's ever been done. That would be something if he could steal 5 more bags.
2-1. Ton of hitting room right side for Worth.
Oh, he was going.
And Jason thinking about the right side. That'll be out of play.
Chris Sabo and Barry Larkin were close in 1991. Sabo had 26 home runs and 19 stolen bases, and Larkin had 20 home runs and 24 stolen bases. So they were close. But the left side of the Nats infield has a chance to make history.
Jason Worth with a home run. 5 for 16 career against Wheeler. 2-2 pitch, and he hits it with authority out of play the other way. The Nats are still 20 over after their loss last night. On the road, 2 over against a division 4 over 500. And Worth, a big curveball, couldn't get it. Zach Wheeler, 170th strikeout of the year. Checking on some early game notes. 5 home runs, 16 RBIs in September. And by the way, Adam LaRoche, in September in his career, hitting almost 300 over 40 home runs. The Nats, 54 long balls since the 1st of August. Amazing. And the pitching strikeout to walk ratio remains the best ever, not just this year.
Twitter's blowing up. I forgot to say there goes a no-hitter.
Uh-oh.
There goes a perfect game
well,
for the broadcaster.
And your friends need to know that you're playing hurt tonight.
That's all right.
Having some voice issues, and we'll nurse you through this thing. Ball knocked down by Lucas Duda on a not very good throw by Zach Wheeler. Must have been the ball. Either that, when he got it back, it was a little wet because it did make its way onto the infield dirt. Adam LaRoche trying to wipe off the bill of that helmet with water running off of it in his line of sight. That's nasty from Wheeler, 95. Knees inside edge.
Wipe off his helmet on his beard. Just take it off, wipe it on your beard. A little cut to that 95 too.
Breaking ball. Loud sound. It's going out to center and catching up with it. Juan Lagares. On a night like last night, that might have gone a whole lot further, even out of here. Nationals baseball on Masson, brought to you by PNC Bank for the Achiever in you, and by your local DC area Land Rover retailers. Visit DCAreaLandRover.com for special lease and finance offers.
Safe?
Yes, I am, says Ian Desmond. I like it. He can do it all, that guy. Mets lineup. 14th in the league in batting average, 9th in runs, so they can score. Travis d'Arnaud in this series, couple of hits, couple of RBIs, and that came on that swing last night, on which the Nats threw it home, and Wilson Ramos not able to finish off the tag. He's 1 for 9 career against Doug Fister, who's unbeaten against the Mets, once with the Tigers and twice with the Nats.
Fastball, slider, curveball, change.
He works fast.
Fastball,
so
88.
It might help your voice to do that.
Maybe.
Eric Young Jr. has had a good series, 4 for 8, 2 runs. Over 3 games, E-wise, 7 for his last 11. '23rd start for Doug. 2.53 ERA. If he sticks around for a while tonight, we'll get him back in the league leaders, and look how he fields his position. Hustles over to first base, so a nice short overhand toss to LaRoche. Guy's a ball player.
Well, he wants to win a Gold Glove, and he should get some consideration this year because he's been as good as any pitcher I've seen fielding comebackers. Harper Spanworth, Desmond Rendon, Cabrera LaRoche, and Jose Lobaton behind the plates.
Lobaton getting the call with Wilson Ramos struggling a bit at the plate and having caught several games in a row. Here's the center fielder, Juan Lagares. And that is on the inside edge, right around the METS on their jerseys tonight. Crack to left and no chance for Rendon. Next up, Daniel Murphy.
Good pitch. Just found a hole. We talked about it his last start against the Braves. Incorporating your defense early if you're a ground ball pitcher. Get them in the rhythm with you. Get them involved. Every once in a while, you'll see a guy like Doug or another pitch to contact guy. Bad contact, as Doug likes to say it.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Go striking out guys and a lot of fly balls early, and then all of a sudden you get a ground ball in the 5th, and maybe you're not quite as ready for it as you would be as if he incorporates you right from the get-go.
Murphy back in there tonight, hit on the hand by Matt Thornton Thursday. Had a nasty welt right about where you would put your watch on the top of your hand, but no structural damage. He could have played yesterday. Mets held him out, and one of the leading hitmen in the league getting around way early on that. He has 1 hit, now 2 fewer than Anthony Rendon. Murphy, 9th in the league at .299. (0-2). Lobaton jumps outside, and they get the strikeout out there. Murphy loves to flip the ball to left field. Couldn't get that one. 2 down.
Yeah, Daniel Murphy, when asked to move to third base because of the rookie Dilson Herrera, said, yeah, whatever you guys need. I'll go over to third base. His normal position, he played it in 2011. It's his natural position. But for some reason, he doesn't seem like the same hitter to me in this series playing third that he did when he was at second. And sometimes when you move a position, it can be a mental grind for you. Meaning you're using all your mental energy on defense because you're uncomfortable at a different place.
Lucas Duda, the hitter. He's had a good series, 3 for 7 with a walk. 4-game hitting streak. Bit of a shift on. Cabrera about 3 steps onto the outfield grass as Lucas lays off the 87 upstairs. Desmond up the middle. This is Lucas Duda's career year, what he's having. And a snap to first. Lobaton put it right on target.
Pretty impressive throw, very casual. That's sometimes how you get a base runner napping, but Lobaton just to a knee, threw it around Duda, and almost got Lagares.
Now he sidearm whips one over there. Duda, good success against Doug, 3 for 6. 15 home runs each of the last 2 years, but he's their everyday guy now. Pretty good looking pitch, didn't get the call from Bill Welke, and the count goes 3-1. And pitch number 4 was outside and low on the Nissan pitch track. And a ball hit well out to center. Span coming in to grab it, and Doug Fister gets his guys right back in the dugout. Desmond will lead off, no score early. Very cool. Desmond Harper Cabrera. Ian Desmond, part of our Volkswagen moment in history last year. That's a long home run by Desmond off the stadium club up there in left field. And he's hit all but one of his home runs against pitchers. That's catcher Anthony Recker, who was mopping up in a Nationals 13-2 win. Hey, but they all count. He could have hit it at somebody.
Pretty impressive when you think about it, in the sense that when you face a position player as a hitter, you have everything to lose and nothing to gain. And those at-bats are tough. They really are. Just from the sense that you're facing a guy that's not supposed to get you out. And what happens is you usually overswing and pop it up in the infield somewhere.
Did you ever pitch?
No.
In a big league game?
Nope.
Did you want to?
It's scary.
Did you come close?
If they had an L screen, like in batting practice.
Good call. Yeah.
Definitely done.
Chuck and duck?
Yes. Pitched once my senior year in high school and faced 9 hitters and didn't get an out. That was the end of that.
Okay. They say he's going to be a good infielder, outfielder guy. With a good arm. Ian Desmond in this series, a little rough, on base 3 times. 1 for 8, hit by a pitch, a walk. Boy, when this bat comes alive, it's really something, though. And the only hit, by the way, in this series was last night. Second time up, he took the ball beautifully to right field. That was right in the middle of a 2-run third inning that got the Nationals back in the game. High in the zone, 2-2.
Slider at 91.
Zach Wheeler, just 24, one of the Mets' young guns of this era. Matt Harvey to come back next year. But I was talking to some of the Mets guys today. The message has already been pretty publicly sent loud and clear here that they're not going to be a player on the free agent market during the offseason. And that rubs a lot of people around here the wrong way. Jacob deGrom, another good young talent. You know, this is, after all, New York. Ian Desmond leads off. He's aboard in the second. So the Mets probably lacking on the position player side as far as offense and productivity. We'll see if they make any, free agents. If you don't do that, doesn't mean you're not going to make any trades or attempt to.
And if you missed the first couple of games of the series, David Wright shelved for the rest of the year. He's got that jammed shoulder. He played through a lot of pain this year.
What a good guy he is. And the Mets are better when David Wright is healthy, and it's been a little beat up the last couple seasons.
We're going to try to rehab it for a month, and if that doesn't work, the possibility of surgery exists.
One of the best guys in the game, too.
He's the captain here. He runs the show.
Bryce, 2 for 8 with a walk in the first 2 games. Good tailing fastball, 94. It's not been a good matchup for him with Wheeler. 1 for 11, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Ian Desmond on the verge. 19 steals, 24 attempts.
It's a little thing, but did you see Travis d'Arnaud set up into Bryce Harper right there? Sometimes catchers will call a throw over and then just set up in, even though that's not where they're even thinking about going. So in case the hitter looks down, which a lot of hitters do. And first thing you do as a hitter, really, you should look down on a throw over to see where the catcher's setting up, but they don't always set up where they're going. See, now he's away. Just a little game within the game that catchers play with hitters on throwovers to first base.
No score, top of the second. Leadoff man on. d'Arnaud, by the way, behind the plate, 22% throwing out runners. Curveball misses by a wide margin, and it's 2-1.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Great at-bat by Ian Desmond, lead off the second. Zach Wheeler with his 73rd walk of the year, and you have to make this guy throw strikes. Ian Desmond knew that. Very patient at-bat. Now Bryce Harper the same. Now he's got himself into a hitting count.
Outfield playing him the other way. Great take by Bryce. That was off speed, the changeup, 88.
Yeah. Guy throws 98, and he's afraid to challenge in a 2-1 count to Bryce Harper. You throw 98, just locate it.
Yeah.
You don't need to trick anybody. One of the best fastballs in the National League.
How about one right here? 96.
Point exactly.
Is Ian Desmond about to be turned loose with nobody out? I don't think you would call it a slow track yet. They did a pretty good job on the infield before the game. Ian Holding and Harper will hit this one high in the air, and it is out of play. You might hear the play-by-play guy be a little uncertain on high fly balls for a moment or two. We are under a considerable overhang here, and we actually lose sight of fly balls.
No excuses, Bob. Come on. Let's go. Sun's in your eyes.
That's right.
Slipped on
That's right above us.
No, it's hard. You really can't see it when it goes up.
And I've heard the Mets guys who do it 81 times here complain about that. But they like being dry on a night like this.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So a 3-2 pitch, and Bryce Harper hanging in there. So the entire at-bat pitch track by Mercedes-Benz. Only pitch that was inside that curveball that made it 2-1. Desmond running out of play, and Ian had a good jump.
He did. You know, I like when guys get a good jump on a 3-2 count. Very often base runners that get the steal sign on 3-2 count just run, and they're not taking into account that it might be a swing through strike three and a double play. Their thinking is, well, he's going to put it into play, and I'm just going to get started right here. But Ian Desmond got a good jump just in case Bryce swung through.
Desmond Holding, and look at this one go. High in the air. See you later. Almost halfway up the upper deck. And Bryce Harper puts the Nats on top 2-0.
Wow.
In the Bronx, they used to call those Ruthian clouts.
The W on his chest right now is for wow. And right on cue with you talking about this overhang.
We didn't see it for quite a while.
You and I are both leaning over the desk trying to see where this one's going to land, but he got every bit of this. And I'm telling you what we talked about it last night. His last 4 or 5 home runs have just been tape measure shots, and look where this one lands. I think about where Adam LaRoche's would have landed had it not hit the foul pole, but that was loud.
55th career home run for Bryce Harper. So the worst possible thing for a pitcher, a walk and a long ball. And I am telling you, that was some kind of contact. That's Bryce's 13th of the year. Cabrera went up hacking first pitch, 0-1 to him now. And the fastball by him, 96.
I don't think he hit one that far off his dad last year in the home run derby.
And Cabrera down on strikes, and Asdrubal is 0 for 8 in this series. Second strikeout by Wheeler. First out, top of the second.
Although his dad did have a pretty nasty cutter going that day, this one just a straight fastball, and I say just. Upper 90s, Bryce Harper got the barrel out, and that's called beating him there, not meeting him there. Little assist from Ian Desmond. There's some sort of basketball play going on in the background. Those guys have gotten so elaborate with their little shoot the helmet game they got going. I can't even keep track anymore. They have like a whole Harlem Globetrotters routine they have before they even shoot it.
Oh, 2 now to Jose Lobaton. And that home run evidently has turned up the octane on Zach Wheeler's fastball. Then he goes with the 0-2 hook and a take by Lobaton.
Now, looking at Bryce's bats the other day, got a new shipment in, and they have this flat black finish on it. But back in the day, you used to grab your bat, and they would have a big, like, bone of a cow in there, and you would take your bat and go over it and kind of compress the wood into your bat. Now they have machines that actually do this for you, and they do it on metal now. So you get the hard maple wood. You know, guys used to use ash. Most guys use maple now. It's more dense. The ball jumps off it. And in the factories, they're actually doing the boning part of the bat with a machine. So now you're compressing the maple even more, and then you're putting the coats on it. So, I mean, the wood bats these guys are using nowadays, they can go a month, maybe 2 months using the same bat. They don't splinter in the barrel. They'll fracture, and we see that happen all the time where the barrel goes flying. But
what a good at bat by Jose Lobaton. And when you put together Rendon, LaRoche, Harper, and Cabrera, there have been some loud swings early in this game. Third man to reach in this inning, and a chance for Doug Fister to sacrifice with one out. So the Nats centering the ball well early. 4 of the first 8 have been on base. Fister, 9 bunts successful this year. Pulled the bat back, but not soon enough, according to Bill Wilkie.
I think he jabbed and then pulled it back.
Pulled it back on that curveball. 1-1.
See, this is such a hard situation for Doug because it's a wet track. Jose Lobaton's on first, and you got Murphy 2 steps from you. Duda's charging hard. I think the only place you bunt it is soft back to Zach Wheeler.
And that ball's popped up. Easy for the catcher, Darno. Nets Plus for next year. Become a member and you'll get experiences, rewards, access, autograph opportunities, team store discounts, and more. Purchase a fuller half-season plan. Members can also secure tickets for postseason just a couple of weeks from now. Call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/Nats Plus.
Remember who was staring at Mejia the hardest last night? That guy.
Yeah, that was some wacko act coming off the field after his 26 save last night.
I think I said, careful who you wake up.
There were a couple of players in the clubhouse asked about it after the game, and they downplayed it. I mean, players don't want to talk about that sort of thing very much. Now, if that's a team that's a game behind you in the standings or vice versa or tied, guys might chat about it a little more. But
no, I disagree, Carp, in the sense that it doesn't matter where you are in the standings. If it's pure emotion in baseball and you're celebrating something, it's fine. When it's rehearsed and it's directed at one guy, like it was at Ian Desmond last night, and he did the whole reeling and efficient right at Ian Desmond and walked toward him, off the mound toward Ian Desmond, that's over the top. Celebrations and Fernando Rodney and Untuck and all that, so that's part of the game. It's fine. But when you direct at a guy, I think that's uncalled for.
Yeah. Well, I was addressing more of the Nationals' response to it.
Right.
I think maybe if it was an Atlanta guy or somebody you're in the race with, players might have talked about it a little more. But the guys did a good job of just kind of sweeping it aside last night and said, hey, there's a game tomorrow, and there's a swing to be had in the second inning. Look at that. When it comes down, we've got a commercial break.
display of power as Bryce throws some wheat thins into the left field bleachers. I mean, look at the balance. And this is called hitting off your backside. Just the throw of the hips, this shows it better. Watch his hips just explode at contact. Boom.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Just good balance. You remember he's fallen, didn't have the good balance, but I think more so than that, he just has confidence that his hand is strong again. And it's very under control.
Doug Fister, first 2 pitches, bottom of the second. 1-1, Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. Doug, 13 pitches, 9 strikes, first inning. And that's outside, 2-1. And a towering foul ball out of play.
Something maybe we both forgot to add to that home run is Adam LaRoche hit his well. It's hard to hit a ball through the rain.
Yeah.
But I think that one would have went through anything.
Yeah, on a warmer night when it was clear, that might have made it to the top of the seats up by that upper concourse.
I think it would have been off the runway at LaGuardia.
Opposite side, and Cabrera over to his left to take care of that ground ball.
All right, it's time to tweet your photos using hashtag MASSonFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown on TV right here. It's brought to you by AT NYN.
Couple of ground ball outs to lead off the first 2 innings by Doug Fister. Curtis Granderson is next, and he has faced Doug 13 times, counting their meetings in the American League. 2 hits during that time, one of them a home run. And he's ahead at the knees, 87. And that hits Granderson. With 85, well off the plate, 1 on, 1 out. That'll bring in the shortstop, Wilmer Flores.
Slider just held on to it a hair too long. Watch the late break in it. Just kind of yanked it over there. He knew it as soon as he let go of it.
Dilson Herrera, the 20-year-old rookie. Pardon me, he's on deck, and this is Flores. And Wilmer Flores, 0 for 4, got the start Thursday night. Ruben Tejada short last night. And Flores has been tough on Doug Fister, 4 for 6. And a bounce it is short. Can they do it? Cabrera tries, and he turns the 6-4-3 on a ball not hit that hard.
Well, either this is a really slow track or Wilmer Flores didn't get out of the box. I thought they had no chance to turn this double play, but Ian Desmond does a nice job, and watch Cabrera get rid of it quick with something on it. Nice.
On to the top of the third inning, and we've got some PNC minor league report action to tell you from PNC Bank for the Achiever and you. Hagerstown Suns rallied 5 in the 6th. They tied their series up against Asheville last night. James Jezzo, the DH, went crazy. Jake Johansson, great work out of the bullpen. But tonight, Asheville has a 2-0 lead in the 4th inning. And it's just really hard to go in there and shut down the tourists.
It is. Hey, I see red people. Nice. You are red people. Love it.
Very good.
Are the tourist uniforms like Argyle socks up to their knees, plaid shorts, and a Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah, and
maybe a camera around their neck while they're playing. Straw hat.
Their traveling cases have many airline tags on them.
Yeah.
Claim checks.
Very creative.
The tourists. I love some of those minor league names, though. Anthony Rendon, base hit the other way, first time. And they go up and in on 0-2. So Rendon in this series 7 for 11. And against Zach Wheeler, career 5 for 12. Wheeler career record 17 and 14. His 47th career start, and the Nats just keep making these Mets starters labor to get through 3 or 4 innings on any kind of pitch count. Bartolo Colon the other night, 73 pitches in the first 3 innings. Last night, 57 for Dylan G. And Zach Wheeler is on his way beyond that. That was Terry Collins with Bob Guerin, his bench coach. And Rendon will keep things moving.
Well, that's what they do. Denard Span, grinder. Yeah, he's going to work a count, foul balls off. Anthony Rendon, same way. Worth, LaRoche, Bryce, Asdrubal Cabrera, even Jose Lobaton. So they're wearing staffs down, to your point, Carp. And that's what the makeup of this ball club offensively is to me. It's not about hitting home runs. Yeah, they're shooting their fair share of balls out of the yard, but these guys are going to make anybody work. And every once in a while the game plan changes. Yeah, going to go up there and hack because somebody's got a good out pitch. They're going to throw strikes, but for the most part, this lineup is going to make anybody labor. And you remember when Jason Worth came over here in 2011? He was really the only guy doing it. And don't forget Ryan Zimmerman. I mean, he works in that bat too. But Jason was the only guy that did that. When you have one hitter that does it, it doesn't have any effect. Hey, one guy that grinds out at bats, the rest, everybody else is swinging. But when you have 6, 7, 8 guys doing it,
and keep collecting base hits like Rendon, it just gets really tough on opposing pitchers.
It does.
8 for 12 against the Mets.
Stay hot. And player of the week coming, folks. Right back up the middle. 8 for 12. Raining hits for Anthony Rendon.
Rain's coming down harder right now. The naked eye sees better through the rain than the camera does. I mean, that was almost invisible. But it's coming down. And it's Paul Emmel, the crew chief at third base. Not that the game has started, his call.
I don't think you put the tarp on for this. You play all night in this. It's just got to, if it starts raining harder.
I'll take 5 innings in this with the score like it is.
Sure. Yeah, maybe they help with the tarp. Yeah, check your texts. You're about to be blown up.
Well, Wheeler, curveballs to Worth. Struck him out on 2 innings ago. Jason back in the lineup tonight. Five for 17 with a home run career against Zach Wheeler. Another breaking ball. Steady diet.
Since July 1st, Jason Worth has hit .311 with 20 doubles, 10 homers, and 43 RBI, and that's in 57 games.
Two and one. Yeah, shaking off the water from his helmet.
Playing in this kind of rain is just annoying. It really is as a player. Is it a difference maker? No, but it's just annoying.
And Worth scolding one to Flores. That'll give them plenty of time to turn a 6-4-3. The Nationals continue to make solid contact against Zach Wheeler.
And Jason finally got a fastball. Zach Wheeler throwing a bunch of curves to Jason Worth. Gets a heater and can't steer it off the bat. Did all he could. Hit it hard. Nice play by Flores. Had plenty of time to turn the double play.
There's LaRoche. He had a loud fly ball to deep center first time. Adam 14 of 37 against the Mets this year. And he's 12 for his last 30 in just over 9 games with 16 runs batted in.
That ball too. Tried to quick pitch him. See that?
43 career home runs in September and a batting average of .296 coming into this one. Another loud swing and a ball hooked well foul. Let's go inside the numbers with Jeep. On base percentage plus slugging. So that's OPS against teams in your own division. And the LaRoche, the best of the East. Interesting, the three of those guys are in the NL West, and then Cervelli of the Yankees. Way inside, down low, 2-2. So as Adam LaRoche sees more pitchers, he's making adjustments to them better than they are to him. Ball 3.
It's another at bat. 3-2.
Pitch count 64. 2 outs in the third, and he just got a double play to really help himself out. Did Zach Wheeler. Man,
just looks really locked right now. You know, everything about his approach so quiet, and I mean, he always looks confident, but he just even more so right now. Just the way he's standing in the box. Is there a more relaxed stance in baseball?
No.
It just looks comfy, doesn't it?
Eight o'clock in rainy Flushing, New York. Citi Field, home of the Mets, where this year they're 1 game over 500, but not against the Nats, who've won 7 of 8 here. Bob and FP with you. Dan will be back with us Monday in Atlanta. And a 3-2 to LaRoche, and a nasty curveball strikes him out. Battled through a pretty good AB there. 3 Ks for Wheeler. The Nats on the Harper homer, 2-run lead.
the biggest game of the year. To get that party started going in the right direction, he responded in a huge way. 7 scoreless, giving up just 2 hits against the Braves. And the big last out after the famous conference at the mound. Matt Williams showing confidence in his right-hander, and that's where Yeah Baby started, and why not? 15 innings against the Braves this year. Doug Fister, no earned runs. Yeah, baby.
Outside to Dilson Herrera, 3rd inning underway. Just Fister's 23rd pitch. He benefited from a double play ball last inning. And the rookie slams one foul past his third base coach, Tim Tuffle. 1-1. Rookie better be ready because the pitcher is. Popped him up. Into the raindrops in left center, Denard Span. The Nats and the Mets back in Nationals Park. Final homestand of the regular season. Dollar hot dogs presented by our friends at Hatfield. Tuesday, September 23rd. To get your game tickets and see all the special offers for that series, go to nationals.com/specials. There's Zach Wheeler, a fastball upstairs. Fister throws it by him.
Hand came off the bat. He swung that with his top hand only.
4 hits this year, 3 RBIs.
One thing you have to be aware of if you're on the infield, the balls skip when it hits the grass, and in the outfield you have to take deeper angles to balls in the gap because it'll really hit and skip.
And this one to left for the backing up Bryce Harper. Top of the order, Eric Young Jr.
When's he up again? He's up 2nd and 4th. I mean, it's getting that point. The monster shots he's been hitting lately. Tape measure, all of them.
Yeah, Bryce now in his last 30 games, 9 home runs and 16 RBIs.
The ball in Seattle off the Hit It Here Cafe. The home run off Clayton Kershaw, which was the only tater he's given up to a lefty this year. The one he hit here tonight, and I'm probably missing a couple too, but those are the 3 that really stand out.
You know, and he's the one who really got that whole walk-off thing started. The opposite field homer against the Mets on the last day of that homestand before we took off for Philly, Seattle, LA. Actually, it was the homestand before that because the homestand prior to that long road trip was the one that featured all the walk-offs, but Bryce got it started. And then the team just kind of took off from there. Pretty good jammage right there. It's LaRoche to Fister, who just goes flying right across the bag. 1, 2, 3. Bryce will bat 2nd. Desmond's walk in front of him was big first time.
Actions 2-0 Nats as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Breaking news, Anthony Rendon 2 for 2. Doug Fister, 3 shutout innings. Breaking news. How about this, Bryce? Boom. Talk about catching a mid to upper 90s fast. That's kind of in his power zone. What do you say, Bob?
Kinda.
Kinda, sorta. And he's eventually going to show you how loud it is by going upper tank. What? 8 rows? 8 rows deep?
Wow.
Boom.
You just don't see many like that. That was fun.
Oh, you literally don't see many like that where we're sitting. All right. It's a Bryce jersey.
She's checking breaking news.
She is. She's like, I just heard. Newsflash, Anthony Rendon's 2 for 2.
And Ian Desmond has a count of 1-0 after walking first time up. That's a strike, low in the zone. Counts even 1-1. 4th inning underway. Zach Wheeler, first 3 innings, 67 pitches. Desmond hits it hard, and it's off the glove of Herrera. That's a hit all the way for Ian Desmond. He's on for the 2nd time, and here comes Harper.
Time for stolen base number 20. What do you think?
Why not? 2-run lead.
All right, remember our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are donating $250 to the Children's National Medical Center. They just told me they're going to donate way more than that for Bryce's last home run. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. So he hit a fastball. He's not going to get a fastball. And as a base stealer, you think that right now if you're Ian Desmond. Okay? He hit a fastball as far as you can hit it. You want to run on an off-speed pitch. This is a good time to run because he's not going to throw a fastball as a changeup. And that's how base stealers think. Who's in the box? What are they going to throw him? And what did they hit last time up? Pretty quick move to the plate by Wheeler with a slide step, so Desmond didn't have a chance. Got a lean. He was going and he tipped it and he knows it.
Holding. Fastball up and away. So if he does see a heater, you would think not to the pull side.
'73rd pitch coming for Zach Wheeler.
Great take by Harper. That was close, 2-1. Getting the count in his favor.
It's the bat I was talking about. You see the finish right there. Thing's as hard as steel.
Little tapper left side. He's going to homer, and he's going to have an infield hit. 2 for 2, Bryce Harper.
Same guy. And isn't it a strange game? You hit one about 430 feet your first time up, and then a swing and bunt your second time up, and you're 2 for 2, and Bryce will definitely take it because you know what? He's lined out his fair share this year. Swing and bunts. Murphy in a little bit of a shift for Harper, so he had to come toward the third base dugout. Had none chance.
Getting down to the bottom of the order here, but there's nothing routine lately about facing Cabrera or Jose Lobaton. A couple of switch hitters, and Lobaton swinging the bat great. Cabrera in a bit of a funk just here in New York, though, 0 for 8, but Jose Lobaton is on the rise in that number 8 spot right behind him. So a pair of infield hits here. And the Nationals have 6 hits in the game already.
don't think you bunt right here. Not with 8 and 9 coming up.
And going to third, Ian Desmond gets that stolen base, number 20, and he scores on a high throw by d'Arnaud. The Nationals lead 3-0. And welcome back to the 2020 club, third time for Ian Desmond.
Congratulations. Number on your back says it all, Ian. Third year in a row, 2020. Third year in a row, 2020. Let that sink in for a minute, folks. That doesn't happen. Fourth time ever for shortstop in Major League history. Hanley Ramirez, Jimmy Rollins, and Alex Rodriguez.
And Bryce Harper in scoring position now. How about that? Stealing third for his 20th bag of the year.
And then scoring a run, but he caught Travis d'Arnaud. I think nap it, even though d'Arnaud saw Ian Desmond go in front of him. Usually with the lefty up, nobody out, you very rarely steal third base or attempt to. Clear throwing lane for the catcher. He doesn't have to clear himself from the hitter. And there's nobody out.
It's Travis d'Arnaud's 8th error of the year, allowing Desmond to score. Bryce slamming his spikes against the second base bag, trying to get the mud out. It's becoming more of a wet track here.
Ian should change his number to 30 next year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Span 30 last night, Desmond 20 tonight.
Go 30-30.
He could do it.
Good.
And he turns on a breaking ball on the hands. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to move Bryce over there for Jose. Anything on the right side will do it. Tough to do with a guy that has a 97-mile-an-hour sinker going away from you. He's trying to get out there and hook it so Jose can drive in Bryce.
Pretty close. Maybe Wheeler lacking the swing back action on that fastball to get that.
Well, he's been all over the place, and maybe a pinpoint pitch actually surprised Bill Welke right there. And umpires get into grooves and probably wasn't anticipating.
3-2 now to Cabrera. Wheeler has thrown 11 pitches in this inning without getting an out. And Cabrera goes up and away, similar fashion to his first at bat, and strikes out.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller time later in the game. That's brought to you by Miller Lite. I wonder what it's going to be.
I don't know. That Bryce infield hit was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We might have to go with the home run, though. Desmond,
2020 guy.
Yeah, we may have more than one to choose from here.
And it may have not even happened yet.
They might be arguing in the truck as we speak. I like it. Little debate, good for a ball club and its crew from time to time.
Yeah.
87 for a ball. Lobaton on a very loud sound single to right field, first time up. Nationals have won 17 of the last 20 that Jose Lobaton has started behind the plate.
Zach Wheeler's tempo is less than Doug Fister's.
Some would say more. More longer. And that's the curveball that stays way out there, 2-0.
But I think you're sitting there going, why? Well, one guy's confident in all of his pitches for strikes, and one guy's thinking about mechanics and trying to figure it out on the fly. That's why some guys work fast, and when you see guys that don't, it's because they're thinking a lot. Where do I want my hands? Stay back. What am I going to throw here? You see him walking around, thinking about the next pitch. The most confident pitchers get it and go because there's really nothing to think about.
Good take. Lobaton works his way into a 3-1 count. '90 took a little bit off the fastball.
Jose not happy with himself right there. Maybe thought he took too big a swing, or he's looking for a different pitch.
85 pitches with 1 out in the 4th inning. Pfister, by the way, is at 31 through 3. And that ball is rocked to right and directly at Curtis Granderson. Harper back to tag, gets to third base on the 2nd out.
I'll tell you what, Jose Lobaton is giving you some great ABs. When you think of Lobaton, you think about how well he's handled the staff, how he frames, his game calling skills, the way he throws. But lately, he has been giving you some seriously solid at-bats. Here's another one. On a 3-2 pitch, can't hit it any harder.
Came into this game 13 for his last 42 at 310. And the guys like it. Getting lots of knucks in the dugout after that piece of contact. And here's Pfister. And he'll hit it up the middle to Dilson Herrera. So the Nats get another run. Ian Desmond steals third base. His 20th of the year. 3rd time in a row to the 2020 club. Even with a left-handed batter in there, surprising everybody. Throw into left field. Desmond comes home. The Nats by 3. Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Ian Desmond on base a couple of times tonight. 2 runs scored, walk, base hit, stolen base number 20. The Nats' second game against the Marlins Friday, September 26th. 7:05, that's a day-night doubleheader. First 20,000 fans to the night game receive a Nats team poster presented by Credit Union National Association. Get your game tickets, 202-675-NATS, or visit nationals.com/ tickets. Doug Fister, 31 pitches, 22 strikes. Juan Lagares leads off for the Mets, bottom 4. Counts even. Juan has the Mets' only hit, solid single on the ground to left with 1 out, first inning. And LaRoche picks it up on the short hop. He'll do it himself. And you've got to wave Doug Fister off a play like that.
You almost want to just give it to him because he wants it. Nice piece of hitting by Lagares, but Adam LaRoche with the nifty play. He's telling Doug, ease up, I got you. And it's pretty close at first base, but nice play by LaRoche.
Yeah, Adam had that internal clock going. He knew how much time he had to get to the bag. Here's Daniel Murphy, who struck out first time. Fister got ahead of him and then got him away, and this time away for a fly ball. 2 quick outs. Tomorrow here in New York, Jordan Zimmerman on getaway day against Jonathan Neese. And then it's on to Atlanta. Pitching pairings have been set. Monday night, Steven Strasburg, Irvin Santana. Tanner Roark, Aaron Harang Tuesday night. And then Wednesday at 7, Gio and Alex Wood. And then 4 in Miami.
See if we go how long it takes between pitches right here.
Ball 1. Lucas Duda, the hitter, trying to keep his bat dry, stepping back in.
$12 seconds.
Ball 2. With a dry bat, probably would have been 9.
Yeah.
Then he goes off speed at 79 and just runs it in there for a strike. Duda fly ball to Span first time. He's hit a batter, but that was erased. Granderson on a double play ball back in the second. A little bit low. 22nd walk of the year in 146 innings. Had retired, 9 out of 10 Mets. And here's Travis d'Arnaud.
But one of the things I've enjoyed about Doug Fister, other than the obvious, is that he picks a guy out in every lineup that's not going to beat him. And regardless if he was representing the tie-in run, the go-ahead run, or whatever, he picks always one guy that he's real careful with. Seems like Duda's that guy. Mm-hmm. And we say he's not giving in. You know, for those of you who don't know him, he's not going to throw him anything that he can drive out of the ballpark, or a fastball and a fastball count.
Yeah, with Murphy 0 for 2. Who else in the lineup's going to hurt you other than Lucas Duda? Then he pops up Travis d'Arnaud. He is a master of his craft, Doug Fister. The one guy he wanted nothing to do with, stranded. Top of the 5th inning, freight rail works in our Denard Span duo. He's 2nd in the league in hits. He's 4th in doubles. He's 4th in runs, 7th in batting average, and 4th in stolen bases. Busy guy. He'll try to find time to lead off in a moment. Cardinals. Top of the order, top of the fifth. As we look ahead over the last couple weeks of the season, remaining schedules of the division leaders. Now, the Nats have a game in hand on the Dodgers, who were beaten again by the Giants last night. St. Louis has a 4-0 lead at home over Colorado, playing them this weekend. So, two of those teams will open up at home. The other division winner will have to go on the road. So, basically, when you count the winner of the wild card game, it then becomes 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. And that's how the first round shapes up. So important to have more home games than not.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Talking to Dave Jagler today before the game about it.
I heard you guys on the entire bus ride over here figuring this out.
Yes, the Giants are 1 game behind the Dodgers.
Correct.
Clayton Kershaw is pitching tomorrow, I believe. He lines up where he could pitch the last game of the season. It's against the Rockies on 3 days rest. So with the division in the balance or a 1-game wild card playoff, do you pitch him the last game of the year if it means that you win the division, and then if he loses, you have nobody for a wild card 1-game play-in?
Yeah, I think you go for it.
Or do you pitch whoever and save him and use him on his regular day's rest, which would be maybe a divisional playoff game if they're tied?
Tough call.
Or the 1-game wild card deal. Because of all the pitchers out there, he's the one guy that in a 1-game scenario would make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
That's the dynamic that I feel like has been added to this whole extra wild card thing.
You know, and in years past, if your ace had to pitch the last day of the regular season, he probably was your number 3 starter for the playoffs. But in the National League, if you win the division, you don't play till Friday.
Yes.
So if you can wrap things up on Sunday, your guy's on his regular rest when he goes out Friday for game 1 as well.
And that's such a layoff. You talk about guys losing their swings in an all-star break.
Yeah.
If you have momentum going into the playoffs, who knows if you still have it? What is it, 5 days later?
That's exactly the same as the all-star break. You'd be off Monday through Thursday. You know, so they'd be working out every day, but it's not like you're going to go out with major league pitchers and play intra-squad games and all that sort of thing. It's going to be kind of crazy to have your team ready for game 1 if you win the division. 4 days later, actually 5 days later, with 4 days of rest. So Denard Span on base. The Giants actually have a better record than the Central Division leaders. And, of course, the Pirates, the other ball club in the wild card hunt. At least if it ended today, they would play the Giants. And we'll have 1,200 more variables for you between now and 2 weeks from tomorrow. Here's Rendon. Right field up the middle, 2 for 2 tonight. And in the series, he is 8 for 12 against Mets pitching.
Obviously, the game not that easy, but aren't you almost thinking, where's this one going?
Span started, then stopped. Talked to Denard last night after stolen base number 30. And I appreciated his candor. You know, the Nats had lost the game, but he did say, I'm pretty pumped about making it to 30. You know, we'd rather win the ball game. But he also spoke about the timing of the steal, which you've hammered away at this year. It's when you steal your bases that is so important. That was a potential game-tying situation last night.
Late in the game, tie game, down by 1. You're a base stealer, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, and everybody in the park knows you're going. Both teams know you're going. They do everything to stop you, and you still steal the base. That's the value of a stolen base.
Yeah. That was Gonzalez Hermen with Zach Wheeler sitting.
That's the one that separates the men from the boys. And in just having the confidence to pull it off. A lot of base stealers won't go in big situations because they don't want to be the GOAT and get thrown out at second.
Yeah. So Wheeler's sitting at low 90s on his pitch count. And another throw over, Span back.
3 minutes and 12 seconds between pitches.
Gave him the A move there. He's going. Pitch low and away. And he picked a great pitch on which to steal. Number 31.
Oh, you see why Zach Wheeler's throwing over, because he knows that he's getting long to the plate. Denard looking in right there. Kind of sticks the landing on a wet surface, but he picked a curveball. That gave him an extra step. And Darno, who has a long throwing motion, takes a while to get rid of it. Enables Denard Span to get in there, and he's got a good uni going. Look at that. I like it.
Meanwhile, 3-1 to Rendon. Only thing that does to help the Mets is that Duda can play way off the bag at first, since Rendon goes the other way so well. I don't know. Does Span have enough time to steal 40? 2 weeks plus a day left in the season.
Yeah, the wear and tear for those extra 10 bases, I don't think are worth it.
Yeah. Situations will dictate.
If they mean something, yeah.
Full count, nobody out. Rendon to right. Granderson over there, and the ball gets out of play. I was thinking, okay, productive out. But the ball kept drifting and drifting, and now Rendon stays alive. I mean, when you've got a guy who stays on the ball like this hitter, how do you get him out? I mean, look at that log. 70 pitches from the second through the fourth.
He's a young guy that's still working on the command of all of his pitches, obviously, but the off speed is what Zach Wheeler really needs to tune up in the offseason. Got a good curveball.
Rendon right up the middle, and the pitcher goes to second, and back in safely is Denard Span. So Rendon reaches on a fielder's choice. Terry Collins is coming out. Looked like they had Span picked off, but the throw was up a bit, and that's a player that, of course, requires a tag.
I'll tell you what, every time Denard Span makes contact with somebody, I think about his history of concussions. And right here, what a great effort to get back to the bag. But I believe his helmet runs right into Wilmer Flores. But what a great effort by Span to get back on this. And the little hesitation by Wheeler to pick up his shortstop was the difference. And his hand got in there. Where did his head hit, though? That's what I was looking at. Oh, not that much contact. Yeah. Looked worse.
Yeah, Flores evidently got the worst of that. 2 on, nobody out. So a walk, a steal, a fielder's choice, and a big spot for Jason Worth to open up a big Washington lead.
I think it was a good decision by Wheeler. It was just an amazing effort by Span to get back. I don't think Wheeler or the Mets did anything wrong right there. There's a big part of me that wants to. I just love Denard Jr. right now. I want to go out there and get dirty. That just looks like fun, doesn't it? Rainy day, mud all over.
Your shirt would look great caked in mud right now. That's a pretty great looking swing. Span around third, flying home, over to third. Rendon. Everybody's safe. Worth into second. The Nationals lead 4-0. And for Jason Worth, RBI number 79.
He's playing good baseball. Playing the game the right way. Leadoff walk. Denard Span steals second. Anthony Rendon doing his best job to get him to third. Span hustling back to second to keep this RBI intact for Jason Worth, who hits behind the runners as well. Look at that uni. That is awesome. And a pretty good throw by Curtis Granderson right here. And Rendon playing hard. Safe.
Zach Wheeler is done.
Jason Worth taking the extra base on the throw. Everybody doing everything right here tonight for the Nationals.
5th inning in the rain. And the Nationals are playing like it's 75 degrees and a clear evening in New York. Gonzalez Hermen on the way. This call to the bullpen, packaged by the UPS Store, your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics and big leads. Walk Steele scores on the Worth base hit. And this is Gonzalez Hermen for the Mets. He'll make his 24th appearance. ERA over 5. 12 walks, 27 strikeouts in 28 innings.
A fastball slider change. Likes the change. Throws it a lot. 20% of the time. 84 miles an hour. Fastball averaging 93. Lefties doing well with a 333 average against. Right-handers not so much.
Anthony Rendon, third base. Is he about to score his 108th run? Worth 1 RBI away from 80 now. Another Nat around that 80 RBI mark. And here's LaRoche 0 for 2. Infield in. Nobody out. Adam looking to lift it, and you don't want anything to do with that pitch. Adam is 5th in the league with 86 runs batted in. An even 100 for Arizona back in 10. 100 for the Nats 2 years ago. And 88, 85 for the Pirates for a couple of years. 90 with the Braves 1 year when he hit 32 home runs. So he has a chance for an all-timer in terms of his RBI years here. 1-1. Fastball up.
If you're wondering, base open, you saw the numbers. Lefties hitting 333 off Herman. Why they're not going to Ian Desmond in this situation? Well, there's nobody out. Maybe with one out you think about it because it sets up a double play.
And LaRoche trying to get 94 upstairs. Counts even 2-2.
That's not Herman, it's Hermen. Clean it up. But
you're playing hurt. You're all right.
No,
doing all right.
No excuses. I'm not going to use the overhang as an excuse. It's Hermen. I like Herman though. It's got a ring to it.
Off speed, drifting outside. Counts full 3-2. Adam LaRoche, career against him 0 for 4.
I got it. Number 71, I got it.
Step off by the pitcher. 5th inning. 4-0 Washington. A run home here and a great chance to make it 5 or 6 in an instant. And LaRoche, did he stop? No. Paul Emmel.
He doesn't know they called it a strike.
Paul Emmel called him out on a swing.
I think he went. Let's see. Yeah, bet went a long way. They got that one right.
1 out, and now Desmond. Eat in this series 0 for 1 against her men and 0 for 5 career. Couple of walks. Hit the ball hard off the glove of Herrera for a base hit last time. Look out. Oh, and looked like somebody made the catch with the umbrella, maybe saving themselves.
They did. And they're Nats fans, and they're smart. They put the umbrella down, and the ball hit it.
That's okay. Better a broken umbrella than a concussion. But they can still stop the rain. Good call.
That ball was crushed, and they put the umbrella down and it saved their lives.
And Desmond right by the umpire into center field. Rendon and Worth coming home. Ian Desmond has 85 RBIs. The Nationals lead 6-0.
What a nice piece of hitting right there. You pull one foul. What do? Stay back a little bit, back the ball up, let it travel just a hair longer, go right back up the middle. And that almost got second base umpire John Tumpay. Look out, coming right at you. And on the wet surface, there's nothing that Juan Lagares can do, and that scores 2 more to make it 6-0. That's rolling.
Well, as I mentioned, Ian Desmond kind of quiet in this series, but not anymore.
Fractured umbrella.
It's okay. It's doing the job, right?
It is. Look, it's broke.
They don't know it yet, but they got the most famous umbrella in Nats town. And look at Desmond. He goes right after it and gets number 21. The Nats are running wild in New York and hitting the ball beautifully.
They're playing some baseball tonight, folks. Running, hitting, pitching, defense, total package here against the Mets. You can't play any better than they played the first 4 1/3.
Bryce Harper, 2-run homer, infield hit, 1-0 count way outside. And Bryce 0 for 3 career against her men. Right-hander who came in and mopped up in the 9th inning of the Nats 6-2 win 2 nights ago. Another off-speed drifting way outside.
All the Mets pitchers very deliberate with their pace. I have some friends here from Manchester, England that are seeing a baseball game for the first time, and right now they're thinking that cricket moves fast.
4-pitch walk. Harper's aboard. Still only 1 out. Bryce on for the 3rd time. Asdrubal Cabrera will be next. Cabrera career 0 for 1 against the Mets. 26-year-old right-hander.
How they doing? Trying to fix it? Umbrella died a hero.
They don't seem real upset about it.
I don't think they can see the game now. Well, they're alive. That's good because that ball was heat-seeking.
Off the end of the bat, out of play, counts even 1-1.
I tell you what, Ian's looking to steal third right here. He had notions, and Bryce is watching closely on the backside. And you know why they're running all over the place, and you know why they're playing like they are tonight. Just go back to last night's 9th inning. That's all you need to see. And talk about waking Ian Desmond up. 3 for 3, 2 stolen bases, and he's looking for more.
Yeah, thank you, Henry Mejia, for making the Nats even hungrier than they already were.
They don't need to be woken up. And probably saying that incorrectly, but that's what champions do. They don't pop off in the paper. They don't sit there and get in a yelling match with the guy. You simply take note of it, put it in your head, and you come out and you take care of it between the lines the next night. Exactly the way they're doing it.
2-1. He's come nowhere near the plate with that changeup. That thing just drifting up and away. From the left-handers, hot swinging Jose Lobaton on deck here in the top of the 5th inning.
I mean, the two guys that were staring at him the most were Bryce and Ian Desmond. Look at the nights they're having.
Yeah, they're 6 for 6 getting on base.
And in case you missed it, we talked about earlier, celebrations are celebrations, but when they're directed right at a player, I think it's over the top. He cast it out. He's looking right at Desmond. He reeled him in, and then the other part he always does. And Ian and Bryce and Denard stood there and just looked at him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well.
I would call that a Bush League display.
I mean, call it whatever you want. It's over the top.
3-2 with 1 out to Cabrera. And he walks him. Bases loaded. Here comes Dan Warthen, the pitching coach. Now, I just had a thought. I mean, if your friends like cricket, this game is flying.
No, the point I was trying to make is cricket takes like 2 or 3 days, doesn't it?
We're on our way.
They're thinking cricket is flying.
Nets piling up some walks here. They've been given 4 tonight. And every time that happens, $50 to support Girls on the Run DC. Thanks to Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. They'd like each of us to take that first step toward a healthier and more active lifestyle. Jose Lobaton has hit the ball hard twice. Base hit to right. Line drive to right. Buddy Carlisle for the Mets. And you got to make this guy throw a strike or 2 before you take the bat off your shoulder. Top of the 5th inning. Steady rain falling, probably feels like a downpour to the Mets. The way the Nats are pouring it on. Still only 1 out in this 5th inning. Lobaton, another line drive, way foul.
Well, he looks so good at the plate. Standing tall, really pounding down on the baseball, creating backspin. Nice open stance and very soft on his feet. Look at foot down early, and the bat is flying through the zone. You would think he's going to get some more playing time coming down the stretch.
This ball popped up over by the dugout.
Where's our umbrella people? Heads up. Coming at you.
One and 2 the count. And a swing and a miss. 95 tailing away. Second strikeout by Herman. 2 outs in the inning. It'll be the aforementioned and seen Doug Fister. All the runs tonight against Zach Wheeler, who threw 100 pitches in 4+ innings, 59 strikes.
Trying to hit a grand slam. You see that swing? I like it.
He has 2 career RBIs. None as a net. Ninth national at bat in the inning. It all started with a Denard Span walk. We've had 3 walks and just 2 hits in the inning, but 3 runs in. Turns over the changeup. That's really the first one he's gotten close enough for someone to be swinging. Rain coming sideways from behind home plate right now. Get one more half inning after this, and we'll let the umpires decide. Inning over. Herman strikes out the side, but he gave up 2 walks and a 2-run single by Ian Desmond in between.
Damp, rainy City Field. Grounds crew out trying to throw some diamond dry in the infield, soak up some of that moisture right now. As this one heads to the bottom of the 5th. All Nats 6-0. Get your tickets now for Saturday, September 27th against the Miami Marlins. First 25,000 fans will receive this year's Fans Choice. There it is, Tyler Clifford bobblehead. That's presented by PNC Bank. Get it at all gates while supplies last.
Doug Fister, 4 innings, 42 pitches, 28 strikes.
Check out some Geico highlights of Mr. Fister. And you're wondering right now with his pace if the Mets pace has affected him at all. Grounds crew out doing the field. You know, he likes to get it and go, but I'm sure he's happy with the crooked numbers the Nats have put up. But as usual, Doug Fister doing his thing against the Mets.
Averaging 10.5 pitches per inning. Hard to do. Curtis Granderson, bottom of the 5th inning. Hit by a pitch first time. And then Wilmer Flores promptly bounced into a 6-4-3. Temperature dropping 63 degrees here in New York. And that ball rocked into center. Span back, and it's going to bounce to the 408 mark. And Curtis Granderson put a big-time charge into that one. It's only the Mets' second base hit tonight.
Yeah, different night. It's 6-1. 24th double of the year for Granderson. He put a serious charge into this one. Got an elevated sinker from Doug. And drove it over Denard Span's head. That's not easy to do. So, pitchers will tell you when they're in a rhythm and a groove, a long inning on offense can affect them when they go back out to the mound, especially a guy like Doug Fister. And on a cool night, too.
Here's Wilmer Flores, and he jacks one to left. Doesn't look like it's going to stay in the park. And it's a 6-2 game just like that. Wilmer Flores was 0 for 21 before that swing.
Yeah, it looked like a slider that just kind of broke right onto his barrel. Wilmer Flores ready, and all of a sudden it's a 4-run deficit. And the one thing we've learned about the Mets this year is they don't go away.
Yeah. Dilson Herrera, fly ball to Span first time. Fister missing inside, 2-0. Bobby Abreu to hit for Gonzalez Herman in a moment. And a bouncer, one hop. Rendon. Maybe that'll settle down the inning at 9 o'clock Eastern as Bobby Abreu steps in. This is our Masson top of the hour reset. Bob and FP, Citi Field, Flushing, New York. The Nats on top 6-2. They've out-hit the Mets 8-3. And they're trying to knock that magic number down to 6 after Atlanta again lost to Texas today. Bobby Abreu 1 for 1 in the series with a pinch hit Thursday night, a single. Bobby Abreu 3 for 16 career against Doug Fister. 38-year-old from Venezuela who's had a fine career. Bobby Abreu is at 277 big league home runs. And he has 1,279. Actually 1,363 RBIs now. And that ball had him lunging. He made good contact, but the air was taken out of that swing by the ball being low and away. 2 outs. Yeah, Bobby Abreu 40 years of age now. Here's Eric Young, top of the order. Nats have kept him off base tonight. He's been a problem in the series. 4 for his first day with a couple of runs.
Look at all the fastballs, 91%.
And Doug Fister, after a couple of loud extra base hits, battles back with a 1-2-3, and that's it for the Mets in the 5th inning. Look who's leading off again. Denard Span, who just did it one frame ago.
Your AT&T fan photo that we promised you earlier in the game, and there it is. Nats fans, I see red people. And that third kid knows who's number one.
Yeah, having a good time right above the scoreboard out there in right field at Nats Park. Here's Buddy Carlisle. Mets right-hander in his 22nd game, 1.85 ERA, 23 Ks in 24 innings.
Fastball, cutter, curveball, change. Fastball averages 90. 22nd appearance for Carlisle, 1.85 ERA. 23 strikeouts versus just 4 walks. You can see the opponent's average, just 207.
For the Nats, Span, Rendon, and Worth making their 4th plate appearances in this game already. Denard 0 for 2, a walk, a steal, a run. In this series, though, he's been on base 5 times. And Denard bounces one by the mound, races on, and the throw gets away. It hits the rail in front of the Mets dugout. And Denard Span's aboard. We'll see how they rule it. Dilson Herrera, the rookie.
I'm going hit right there. Good throw had him, but it wasn't a routine play. You got a wet surface, a guy that runs well. This is anything but routine. And like I said, good throw gets him, but not an easy play. And that Lucas Duda should have caught that. What happens is scorekeepers watch it in slow motion, and that looked like an easy play for Duda, right? That wasn't an easy play. He was close. He threw it hard.
Yeah, they made the call pretty quickly here, and I think the Mets official scorers do a really good job. I don't think we've had too many beefs with them over the years, and that hit was announced before that replay was shown. So here's Rendon. 2 for 3, couple of singles, reached on a fielder's choice last time when Zach Wheeler threw to second base trying to pick off Span on that grounder. The Nats have 9 hits now And Rendon saw something upstairs he thought he could pull. Rendon now 164 hits. It's fourth most in the league. And how about another one? Three-hit games in this series. The ball bobbled by Lagares, and then Span goes to third. And they could give Juan Lagares an error because Denard Span had slowed down. Base hit, E8.
He slowed down, started up, stopped again, and then went. So he's thinking about going right here. Great piece of hitting by Rendon. What new? Newsflash. But watch Denard kind of throttled down. He wasn't even thinking about going to third, but you see stops, starts again. And a thank you very much, 90 feet from Juan Lagares.
10 Washington hits. And Worth drove one in last time with an opposite field single. So Jason Worth is one swing away from 80 RBIs or more. Worth jammed, fouls it back right below us. Rain easing up somewhat, but still a steady drizzle. And a 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, Worth offered, looked like he held. James Hoy says he did. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Out of play, right side.
So the truck doing some serious work for me. I asked him to figure out the time of possession in tonight's game. So through the first 5 innings, the Nats have hit for 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 50 seconds. And the Mets have hit for 20 minutes and 6 seconds. So
unbelievable.
That's serious time of possession in favor of the Nats.
Worth right off the end of the bat. Coming home is Span. Worth beats the relay. That throw gets away. It's 7-0, and Jason Worth goes to second base. So he'll get an RBI on a fielder's choice, and then he'll go to second on an error.
That one was all messed up from the start. Lucas Duda had Denard Span dead to rights at home if he wanted to go there. And he's playing in, and he goes toward home plate. He's thinking double play, but there's nobody out. Even if they turn it, Span scores. He had the out, and now a 4-run lead becomes a 5-run lead. And then all heck breaks loose over there at first base, and Jason Worth gets to second.
E6 on Wilmer Flores. So fielder's choice, RBI, E6. And the Mets have made 3 errors tonight.
RBI number 80 for Jason Worth.
And the Nats get one of those runs right back that the Mets just scored. LaRoche will pop this one up to left.
Heads up. Here it comes. Boom.
Where do we start with the box score? Well, Rendon, a 3-hit night. Another run scored. Ian Desmond, a couple of big RBIs. Bryce Harper went deep to start the party back in the second inning. Nationals had fallen just behind the Pirates in the National League in runs scored. But they have put 7 on the board here in 6 innings. Desmond on base 3 times, 2 hits, 2 batted in, and a slider just far enough away for strike 2. Fifteenth pitch of the inning for Buddy Carlisle, facing his 5th batter. The Nationals have gone in order in an inning once since Thursday night. That's how much they've been all over this Mets pitching staff. These guys pitching off the stretch for nearly 2.5 games. Up and in to Ian Desmond, 2-2.
You know, that time of possession thing could be a little bit skewed because, you know, the Nats run the ball. They're more of a, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, kind of grind it out. And the Mets are like, they're run and shoot, kind of spread offense.
Oh, okay.
Lots of incomplete passes.
Desmond off the end of the bat, races on to the right side. And finding the bag is Carlisle to put an end to that inning. But the Nationals get a run back on the Mets. And it's 7-2 after 5.5.
I'm going to have to check out their ball club. They got pennant fever. You could have it too. 2015 Nats Plus memberships will offer experience, rewards, access including exclusive autograph opportunities, and team store discounts. You can purchase a full or half-season plan right now. Members can also secure tickets for 2014 postseason games. Go to nationals.com/Nats Plus for more info. Is that a Nittany Lion right there next to a Nats fan?
If you turn around, we'd know. Bottom of the 6th inning.
Already know. Just look at the.
Yeah, there it is. Lagares, Murphy, and Duda. Doug Fister, 55 pitches, 37 strikes in 5 innings. Starting to give up some line drives here. 3 well-hit balls by the Mets. And obviously, they're going up hacking early in the count. So Doug will have to make an adjustment here. Daniel Murphy next. And that's a double play ball. Desmond on his way to the bag. Lost the ball. 2 on, nobody out. That'll be a fielder's choice, E6.
Tricky little hop there. You look at Ian going to fix the diamond drive back there. Got an in-between hop, maybe in a little bit of a hurry. Watch the spin, too. Talked about how it skips on wet grass. That was a great shot of the inside-out spin in the last hop, going a little further back toward Ian's right leg than his left leg. You know, when he first thought he was going to field that, normally an infielder fields it off your left instep. That ball had inside-out rotation and went backwards toward his right leg, and that was the difference.
Well, Lucas Duda, he's the one guy who could get the Mets back in it. First 2 batters, first pitch swinging here, 6th inning. Duda 0 for 1 with a base on balls tonight. He's 3 for 7 career against Doug. And a ball hammered the other way and out of play.
Show you what I'm talking about. You see that from behind home plate, the inside-out rotation and what wet grass does to that rotation. Watch the last hop. See how he thinks it's going to be off his left foot, and it inside-outs back to his right foot and handcuffs him.
Two and one.
Pretty good pitch.
And he really pulled the string there. You kind of see Lucas Duda trying to slow down that bat.
Any pitch and any count for a strike. Big part of this ball game. Going to talk it over.
Mets box score: 1 hit by Lagares until the 5th inning, when Granderson and Flores went back to back, double home run. Now base hit and an error. First 2 men aboard in the 6th. And Doug Fister tried to come out through that side door with a breaking ball. It's 3-2.
I think there's 3-2 changeup right here. There's 2 ways you could go. Well, there's a lot of ways you could go, but you could front hip the fastball or go 3-2 change. Got to figure he's thinking.
And he goes with a curveball, drops it in to strike out Lucas Duda looking.
Well,
second strikeout all night.
That's the way it goes facing Doug Fister. You're thinking fastball, adjusting to a changeup, and he throws the last thing you're thinking about, a curveball that looks like it was outside the box, but he gets the call.
And Mercedes-Benz tracking that one away, but he got it. Next up, Travis d'Arnaud. And Pfister with a nasty hook right there. That thing was a strike for a while.
I'm telling you, Lucas Duda was not thinking about curveball. I mean, you get in there 3-2, your fastball, he might throw me a changeup. Got to be on the fastball. Changeup looks just like the fastball. He can go with that. Curve not even on his mind.
And in the air to left, Bryce Harper going back. Darno didn't get it. Edge of the track for the second out. It'll be Pfister and Granderson with 2 down. So not a big strikeout night for Doug Pfister, and that's fine. $37 times 2 so far to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. That's thanks to the generosity of our D.C. area Toyota dealers. Two on, 2 out. Granderson rocked that double over the head of Denard Span last time, and Span playing him pretty shallow after that. Denard creeping in a step or 2. Great late movement right off the end of the bat. Had him out in front. LaRoche can't get it. A run scores. Another man to third. And it's a 7-3 game and a ball hugging the line the entire time.
That's not going away. They're battling. Good at bat by Curtis Granderson. Hits it down the line. Good effort by LaRoche. You see that changeup just staying up long enough. Granderson doing a nice job waiting on it. And Lagares scores easily. Good hustle by Cabrera getting over there and holding Murphy at third.
Nothing happening in the Nats bullpen. Wilmer Flores homered last time. His 4th of the year. And the 5th of his big league career.
Hey, you talk about Pfister's last outing against the Braves. It was a 104-pitch effort. But there wasn't a lot of drama in those 104 pitches, where he didn't have to really rear back. But from a mental standpoint, that was an intense start. That was a playoff type atmosphere that, you know, you spend a lot of mental energy. And I don't know if there's any pitcher in baseball that spends more mental energy than Doug Pfister out there with the focus and always thinking ahead. So there's 2 kinds of tired for pitchers. There's, you know, the 104 pitch effort where you're getting out of jams every game, and the next start you just have nothing. And then there's the big time start against the team closest to you in front of a packed house or close to it, where you spend a lot of mental energy, and you wonder what that toll is having on him here tonight as this thing is in the 6th inning.
Back into the bullpen pretty fresh.
Pitch count's fine.
Yeah. Fastball just missing away. Crowd oohing and eyeing on that one. The count's 1-2.
Pretty good pitch right
Did
here.
it run back? Close. And Flores really lunging to stay alive with that curveball. And a 2-2. He gets him with the hook. Doug Fister pulls out 2 of his 3 strikeouts on the night in the 6th inning. So the error gives the Mets 1 unearned run, but Doug Fister and the Nats still lead by 4.
To 3 Nats, touchdown to a field goal. And if you missed Bryce Harper's first at bat in the 2nd inning, we're going to show it to you one more time as he is set to lead off the 7th. This is what you missed. Zach Wheeler fastball turned around in every way you can turn it around. And did you see Bill Welke right there put his hand on Bryce's back? Bryce wasn't showing Wheeler up. He was just standing there to see if it was fair or foul. He wanted to keep a still head and see what was going on. One of the better swings he's taken this year.
Yeah, we were pretty sure of the distance.
I have it on my app. It was 723 feet.
Well, I heard they were checking with the tower at LaGuardia, and they'll have a final determination shortly.
It's my Make Up Your Home Run Distance app that I downloaded today for $4.
And another loud sound by Bryce Harper. 3 for 3 tonight with a base on balls, on base for the 4th time.
Bullet. If this one had elevation, it might have been just like the first. Look at the balance in the swing. Bryce Harper is locked. 3 hits, a walk, on base 4 times, and we showed you the home run.
Well, now the Mets made 3 errors last inning because they just took a hit away from Denard Span on that ball to Herrera. So the Nats run in the 6th unearned. They're just trying to build another rally here. So the Mets 4 errors on the night and 3 in the 6th inning alone. A little harsh to take a hit away from a guy an inning later.
Oh, don't worry.
As long as they don't pull any runs off the board, that's fine.
No, that'll get reviewed again like 4 times. They'll send the video to the league and they'll appeal it. And
well, I could be changing my scorebook sometime Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
With the update on that one, we'll see.
Art Span will be sitting around watching football on Thanksgiving Day, and he'll get a call and say, "Hey,
you just won the batting title.
You got a hit today."
You just won the betting title by .0001 because they changed that call back.
Remember that infield grounder you hit in New York?
Maybe.
They changed it.
Stranger things have happened. Cabrera, couple of strikeouts and a walk. And against Buddy Carlisle, career 0 for 1. This one high in the air left side and well out of play.
And he's going for that You know, the NL leading hits too, and Hunter Pence coming in tonight has 5 more than Denard.
Yeah, so he went from 172 back to 171.
I'll go back to 172. New Year's Eve, right around midnight. Change it to a hit.
Well, maybe something good will happen after midnight. 2-2. Cabrera takes ball 3. Darno sliding to his right. Yeah, game 2 of that series out in San Fran. Dodgers got 4 in the first. Rafael Soriano. Doug Fister's at 75 pitches, 50 strikes through his 6 innings. And with the runner on the move, Cabrera flies it to center. Bryce Harper back to first, 1 out. Lobaton next, and we'll see a pinch hitter comes out. So far, it's Doug Fister. And again, pitch count not a problem. Could have been out of that inning with a better hop to Ian Desmond without a run in the 6th. Jose Lobaton, single, hard line out to right, and a strikeout.
Well, if you're wondering about Doug Fister and you're thinking, well, Matt's going to go to his bullpen, I think you look at who's coming up next inning and what part of the order you're in. You know, Doug really battling to get through the 6th. But then you have 8, 9, 1 due up for the Mets, and that might be why Matt Williams is leaving him in this game and has Soriano up just in case something happens.
Yeah, Fister, 23rd start of the year. He's gone at least 6, 18 times, including tonight. And he has a chance to go at least 7 for the 14th time. 1 on 1 out for Lobaton. Bryce Harper, by the way, with his 3 for 3 night, batting .273. And that ball pulled for a base hit by Lobaton. 2 for 4 night from the number 8 hitter. And the Nats have runners at the corners. That'll get Fister called back to the dugout. And Matt Williams going for more runs here. Looks like Nate Schierholtz.
3rd good at bat of the night for Jose Lobaton. Now 2 for 4. Singled his first time up, lined out to right, 2nd time up, and now his 2nd hit. Stay hot, Jose Lobaton.
Just relentless offense by the Nats.
Bryce Harper doing a nice job of getting to 3rd base, playing hard. Doug Fister with another tidy outing.
Dan Worthen to the mound. So Doug Fister goes 6. He'll give up 3 runs, 2 earned. Now, in my opinion, that's a quality start. 2 earned runs in 6 innings. A 3 ERA if you project it out. And a chance for his 14th win of the year. Struck out 3, 2 of those in the 6th inning when he needed them. And 1 walk on the night. 75 pitches, 50 strikes. Nate Schierholtz got a start last night. After going 0 for 2, he had a couple of singles.
Now, one of his hits, or one of his at-bats, should have been ruled a hit last night. I forget which one it was, but it was
the first
question.
time up, they gave an error.
Ball up the middle, I believe.
A good stick coming off the left side of that bench. He hasn't faced Buddy Carlisle before.
When you have a start and you get a couple hits and then you get a pinch hit, it's not the end of the world kind of mindset that you go up there with. You're more relaxed. You feel like you see the ball better. number one, because you had 4 at-bats or 5 under your belt the night before. Number two, because you got a few knocks. Now you're more relaxed. Whereas sometimes if you're a pinch hitter and you don't play for a week, even with a 4-run lead, you get tight in these situations.
Sherholtz bounces one in front of the plate. He's off to the races and very close and out at first base. Harper staying at third, Lobaton going to second, and Matt Williams is out.
Boy, Bryce was thinking about it. He was shuffling down the line and he was looking at d'Arnaud, and as soon as he released, he almost went home, but shut it down at the last second, and it was bang bang at first base, and Matt Williams gonna let the boys in the clubhouse take a peek. And we'll look at it together. A little squibber right in front of the plate, and d'Arnaud doesn't check Bryce. Bryce was thinking about it, threw a nasty sinker, and was Lucas Duda's foot on the base. Won't see from that angle, but I thought from the first shot that his foot might have not been in contact with the base, but Matt Williams back. Never mind. Nate Sherholtz almost wiped out.
Denard Span top of the order with 2 runners now in scoring position. Here comes Terry Collins. So Carlisle will go an inning and 2/3. Give the Nats 3 hits. And the Nats a little deeper into the Mets bullpen here. I mean, Dan Worthen came out earlier, right?
Yep.
So he's done. Span, top of the order in a moment. Simple innovations to make your life better. That's Volvo innovating for you. It's a lot of base hits inside that ballpark tonight. Most of them by Rick Shoes hitters as he goes over things with Denard Span and Anthony Rendon. Lefty Josh Edgen making his first appearance of the series.
I think he was reading him a Nats Plus promo. Or telling him that Josh Edgen has a fastball at 92. A cutter at 86, slider 79, an occasional changeup. 43rd appearance for Edgen. You see the sparkling ERA at 1.38. And Terry Collins brought him in because lefties are hitting 167 against him. So Denard Span has his work cut out for him.
Well, Denard against this lefty. 1 for 6 career with a double. Third base, Bryce Harper led off the inning with a base hit. Lobaton at second. He had a 1-out single. So after the Nate Sherholtz bouncer, Denard trying to get the Nats a 5, maybe 6-run lead back.
Rick Shue showing hitters tendencies on first pitch. I mean, he probably told Denard he's going to come after you first pitch fastball. We have it right here. He throws it 78%, whatever it is. And this is his out pitch. This is what he goes to. You know, versus left-handers. All the data in the world over there, especially this late in the season.
And for a moment, Harper came down the line. The catcher's throw got away from Josh Edgin. FP's mentioned this in the past. That's why sometimes with a runner at third base, on the throwback from the catcher, you'll see a shortstop or a second baseman come pinching in toward the bag in case that happens.
Did it every single time my whole career, and not once did it happen.
Probably why.
But I felt like
the one time you didn't do it?
Yep, that's why I kept doing it.
1-1. That's a fastball inside on Denard. So probably a one-batter appearance here for Edgin, top 7. '27-year-old lefty who pitched in 34 games for the Mets 2 years in a row in 12 and 13. 43rd game this year with a 1.38 ERA. After getting ahead, it's now 3-1.
Well, Bryce Harper is walking down the line, Edgin not even looking, and someone just screamed in the Mets dugout. But Edgin stepped off the mound and was looking out to right field. Bryce was creeping. He just stand on the mound, watch Edgin, and watch Bryce up in the left corner. Look, he's looking out to right field. Bryce, he had to know, he's thinking about it. Only thing is, it's so quiet here that everybody would have yelled and he would have been out. Sometimes you get away with that at home or on the road when it's so loud that nobody can hear.
3-2 to Span, and Denard will pull it right to Lucas Duda. The Nationals get a couple of base hits and leave 2. They've stranded 9 tonight. It's the Hyundai 7th inning stretch from Citi Field in Flushing, Queens, New York, state of New York. Long night of baseball, 7-3 Nats.
Nailed it.
Coming up, bottom of the 7th. There's a ways to go in this game, and you've talked about this. The Mets keep battling, and Rafael Soriano's going to get an appearance here in the 7th inning to keep these guys at bay.
Yeah, see what he's got. I mean, it's a good opportunity for him to go in there and show his manager that he's made the adjustments and getting that arm up and getting on top of that slider and throwing it downhill. So, yeah, a long way to go in this ballgame.
Well, the Nats have had plenty of offense to go tonight. Doug Fister out of the ball game, so we'll see what the bullpen does. And this is certainly a different configuration, even with the big lead, to have Soriano in the 7th inning.
And it might be weird for him, right? A guy used to coming into the 9th inning with the lead. Now he comes in the 7th inning with his ball club up by 4. So let's see what he's featuring.
Dilson Herrera, the rookie, leads off bottom 7. And Soriano, nice late break on that. So a 2-2 count. Left-handed batter Kirk Neuenhuis on deck for the Mets here in the 7th. .90 riding high.
So the first couple pitches, I saw a pause at the top for Soriano that I haven't seen. That pitch, he just went with his regular delivery. And there was kind of a little hesitation move at the top. Always does that, but it looked a little more pronounced.
And he gets a pop-up to the right side. Adam LaRoche in foul territory with the out.
And the reason why he's doing that is he's trying to stay back. You know, Steve McCatty saying, as he says with a lot of pitchers, that, you know, you start to get out in front, your arm trails, you get around the slider, it just spins up there. And we talked about a lot with Steven about staying over that rubber, staying on the back side. And he looks very deliberate, like he slowed his motion down and is kind of hovering over the mound. And that's to get his arm out in front and get on top of the baseball.
Neuenhuis against Soriano, 0 for 1 career. And there's the slider down and in. Jammed him just enough with that cutter, it appeared. And he got the ground ball foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Try to show you what I'm talking about. It's a good example right there in that pitch with Soriano. Watch him hover right there and then drive toward home, and you see the downward plane of the cutter. That was good. Right there, he's trying to gather.
Ross Detweiler's been throwing the ball well. And a swing and a miss on a pitch down. Soriano gets another out.
Good pitch out front on top. A lot of good movement late. And you see where the release point is. Downhill. And Neuenhuis over the top. Good pitch.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Eric Young Jr. against Soriano with a base on balls, 0 for 4.
Good cutter there at 93. I like what Matt Williams is doing right here. He said that he would help Soriano land softly in his next outings, meaning he put him in situations that he thought would benefit his right-hander, in the sense that, you know, there's some good matchups. You don't have that luxury when you're the closer. You just come in the ninth and whoever's hitting's hitting. But right now he's going after 8-9-1, and you can see the adjustments he's made in his mechanics. And talking to all the players, that he's been a great teammate through all this thing. You know, talking to guys, helping them out in the bullpen still.
It's good to hear.
And cheering on guys, you know, even when he's not in the game and in his accustomed ninth inning role.
He's got a left-handed batter jumping at that slider.
And when you're a veteran guy and you've been around the block, you know, I mean, if you're doing well, you play. If you're not, you don't. It's pretty simple. It's nothing more than that. And he's trying to get back to where he was.
One hopper, Cabrera. And what a good seventh inning for Rafael Soriano. He keeps Eric Young off base, always important, in this one into the eighth inning. The Nats by 4. Bullpen doing a good job, getting a 1-2-3 seventh inning, and getting this one to the top of the eighth.
Tell you what, Carb, I'm looking on my iPad right now. I have an app that you just punch up any pitcher and it shows you their deliveries. I'm going back to the Phillies game and watching his windup in the break and how quick it was in that game and how deliberate it was tonight. And it's like night and day. I mean, he was very sped up and really pushing toward home plate, and everything was quick. And tonight it was slow and gathered, and it allowed him to, like I said, get to his release point and make everything downhill with a lot of movement on him. That was impressive.
Kirk Neuenhuis on a double switch stays in, plays left field. So the Mets pitcher is batting in the leadoff spot, and that'll be Vic Black, their fifth pitcher of the night. And Vic Black, 41st appearance, 2.41 ERA, strikeout guy, 32 of them in 34 innings.
Yeah, 41st appearance, 32 strikeouts, 19 walks. And the league hitting just 205 off Mr. Black.
3 games with the Pirates last year, 15 with the Mets. He came over in that Dilson Herrera deal when John Buck and Marlon Byrd went to the Bucks. Can he get out Anthony Rendon? Front door breaking ball inside. Anthony Rendon is 1 for 2 career with a double against Vic Black. Oh, And Rendon takes one up near the neck. And we have an umpire making a slow walk toward the mound, glancing back to make sure the hitter was walking down to first base. And that is danger territory there.
Well, who knows if that was on purpose or not. But there's been some shenanigans in this series, and they continue here.
Knocked the helmet right off his head.
You know, as
hit him in the shoulder blade.
As a rule, you don't want to go up high, even if you are hitting somebody on purpose. So that leads me to believe, well, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I can't get in his head. I just looked at the dugout as soon as he got hit. That was where my head went, and there was a lot of guys on the top step.
Leadoff man aboard. Rendon on for the 4th time tonight. Pinpoint fastball, strike one.
You know, might have been on purpose, might have got away, who knows. But to my point initially when all the stuff started the other night, you don't want to get anybody hurt this time of year.
Yeah, Nationals have a whole lot more to lose than the Mets. Now that's off speed, stayed upstairs. Well, I don't know what happened with Tim Hudson tonight. 8-0 Dodgers, 3rd inning at San Francisco. And we keep our eyes on those games. St. Louis ahead, trying to win their 82nd game. Dodgers trying to win their 84th, as are the Nats.
When you win a game the day before Kershaw pitches, it's almost 2 for 1.
Runner going. And Worth, a healthy hack, gets off to the right side. Anthony Rendon had a really good jump. So here we are at Citi Field. Long night of baseball. Top of the 8th inning. It's been worthwhile for the Nats. 7 runs on 11 hits. Mets have made 4 errors. But the Nationals have only scored 1 unearned run. And the Nats have made an error that led to a New York unearned run as well. Worth has 2 RBIs and he's made it to 80. The Nats have 4 hitters with 80 RBIs now. Most of any team in baseball. The Tigers have 3: Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Ian Kinsler. Three-two to Worth. Rendon running. And a fly ball to right. Anthony spots it. And with Granderson moving toward the line and dropping it, Rendon will be forced out at second base. Nothing a base runner can do on a muff like that. It'll go 9-6.
Yeah, absolutely nothing Anthony Rendon could do right there. You can't hang out because the play is so close to first base. If you stay halfway right here, Granderson grabs it and you're assuming he's gonna and throws you out at first and doubles you up. So Rendon coming all the way back to the bag, and Granderson had plenty of time.
It's a heck of a way to get your 7th outfield assist of the year.
See Anthony going back. He's looking at the play.
Oops. And now a ball gets away and Worth goes to second base. That pitch was way outside.
Yeah, I don't think Terry Collins wanted to see that anymore. Good take by LaRoche on a borderline pitch.
Fortunately, that was not one of the outside ones called for a strike this year. He's had plenty of those.
Jason Worth hopping around second. He was thinking about stealing third there. Nats got their running shoes on tonight.
One pitch and a tapper by LaRoche to the right side. Vic Black to Lucas Duda, 2 outs.
All right, just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And we're going to show you Ian Desmond, little flashback. This is last year, September 22nd at Nats Park against the Marlins. Stolen base number 20. So at that time, back-to-back 2020 seasons. And then tonight, he steals third base. That was in the 4th inning to go back-to-back 2020 seasons. Join Jimmy Rollins, Hanley Ramirez, and Alex Rodriguez as the only shortstops to do it back-to-back. Pretty cool.
He would later add a 2-run single and another steal, this time second base. So Desmond, 21 steals, 22 home runs, 85 RBIs. Maybe his most important stat of all. And he couldn't stop his swing on a pitch upstairs. Two and one to Ian. Walked 2 singles, 2 runs. And he drives one to right center. That ball is off the wall. 3rd hit of the night. Another RBI for Desmond. And the Nationals lead 8-3. And that ball was crushed.
Well, again, Desmond, the kind of guy after what happened last night that really wouldn't blame a pitcher for showing up his last at bat. He's the kind of guy who would say, well, if you don't like it, play better. And tonight he has. On base 4 times, 3 hits, a couple of stolen bases. He scored twice, and then add that one to the mix. What a night for the Nats shortstop, celebrating his 3rd straight year as a 2020 guy.
Here's Bryce Harper against Vic Black, and that ball hit way out in front of home plate. Bryce is 1 for 2 against the right-hander. Gets the Nats the 5-run lead back. And Harper right off the end of the bat. One pitch. Guides it the other way. Circling behind it, Flores, the shortstop, and Harper is out on a close play. James Hoy waiting a minute, and that will be it for the Nats in the top of the 8th inning. Ian Desmond rings one off the wall, 8-3. Nats and Mets closing out this series. Jordan Zimmerman looking for number 12. He's 5-0 with a 2.38 ERA his last 8 starts, and that's Jonathan Neese. The lefty has been beaten up by the Nats this season. 11 runs in 10 innings. He's 0-2. We'll get you going at 12:30 with Nats Extra on Masson. On 12 hits, it's 8-3 Washington. Go top 8.
Ross Detweiler staying on the mound. Ian Desmond at shortstop. And the most popular way to follow those guys is MLB.com app, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts as opposed to dead ones, the MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Get the app for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store. Visit MLB.com.
Ross Detweiler. And this guy's been called upon lately. He nailed down a 1-2-3 ninth inning on Thursday night when the Nats beat the Mets 6-2. Didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but he throws fastball like almost every pitch.
No. You're not stealing anything. Feel free.
Lagares, Murphy, Duda for the Mets, bottom of the 8th. Juan Lagares tonight, a couple of hits, a run. And against Ross Detweiler, career 0 for 4 with the base on balls. Change up. Right up the middle. Cabrera gets to it, and nothing he can do but hold it. And Juan Lagares has his 3rd hit of the night.
Still got to love the effort, don't you?
Absolutely.
Even though he had no chance to get him. Way out in center field. Bullet back up the middle. The mound slows it down just enough for Cabrera to glove it, but then he goes on the slip and slide on the wet grass, and no chance, but great effort. Still playing hard. And why wouldn't you?
Lefty-lefty matchup. Ross takes on Daniel Murphy here. And Murphy 2 for 12 career against Detweiler, 4 strikeouts. And he'll hit one out to center. Sounded like a busted bat. Denard has it.
Well, you saw how hard Denard came right there. He was thinking that ball is going to drop based on the sound alone. I'll tell you what, that play right there at times at Citi Field when the planes are flying right over can be a tough one because you can't hear the crack of the bat. Watch him hit the accelerator right here, and it's based on the sound that he heard. And then he hits the brakes and saw a little more carry to that ball than he initially thought.
Easier to slow down than to speed up if you make the read there. So here's Duda. Doug Fister did a good job of not only pitching around him once, but retiring him in a big situation in the 6th inning. They had 2 on, nobody out. And maybe that big looping curveball was the pitch of the night. He goes with the heater and misses low, 2-0. Right in there. Ross Detweiler making his 44th appearance of the year. Remember how high his ERA was for a couple of months. He's down in the 3.75 range now. And he gets in on the hands of Lucas Duda. Routine fly ball. Right field, Jason Worth, 2 down. Lucas Duda is now 1 for 11 career against Ross Detweiler. That'll bring in the catcher, Travis d'Arnaud.
You know, Carmen, in all the excitement about Ian Desmond going back to back to back, I think I misread the stat that Jimmy Rollins did it 4 times, but it wasn't back to back to back. He did it 06, 07, 09, and 12.
Okay.
So Hanley Ramirez did it 4 times, back to back to back to back. Alex Rodriguez did it 3 times. So Ian Desmond, only the 3rd guy at shortstop to go 23 times in a row. Rollins missed 08. So even more rarefied air, if you will.
Well, and who's to say he's not going to do it 5 or 6 times in a row? It could easily happen for this guy.
Well, like I said earlier, change your number to 30.
If I was Aaron Barrett, I'd charge him a lot of money for that number. So the leadoff man, a base hit, and then a good Ross Detweiler 8th inning. This one to the 9th. The Nats 8-3. Yeah, take that, Mr. Met. 8 runs on 12 hits. Why don't you try to get some of these Nats out? So we go top of the 9th inning. Dario Alvarez will be the Mets pitcher. The Nats, seeing him for the 2nd time in this series. He came in the 8th inning in a situational bat matchup with Adam LaRoche and got him to fly out to center field. So for Washington, Cabrera, Lobaton, then the number 9 spot. Looks like Xavier Cedeno is throwing out in the bullpen, so Ross Detweiler might get an inning, and maybe the X-Man can nail things down here. As Drupal Cabrera 0 for 3 with the base on balls, followed by Jose Lobaton, who's had a good night, hitting the ball hard 3 times. That was a 13-pitch, 8-strike inning for Ross Detweiler. I can't think of a series whereas Drupal didn't have a base hit. He's 0 for 10 here, but he's been on base 3 times. He's drawn 3 walks.
Needs a feel-good knock right here.
Yeah. Nationals 1 inning away from knocking the magic number down to 6.
Kind of just hit me right there when you said that.
It's a low number, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's a low number when you're not even halfway through September. Orioles at 5, but they lost today, and Toronto won, so their magic number stays there. So we got some countdowns going on at each end of the parkway.
Getting exciting. I should say getting close. It's been exciting for about a month and a half.
And a ball down and in. Cabrera can't get to it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that is just a little bit outside on a hook that didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, 2 pitches, fastball and a slider. Fastball 90, slider 80.
Scott Hairston in the hole, it appears, to hit for Detweiler here in the top of the 9th.
Those guys really worked hard tonight. 12 hits, 8 runs. Flew up from D.C. just for the occasion. They know that the magic number has a chance to go to 6.
Cabrera, and there's his first base hit of the series. It'll get by the tarp down deep into the left field corner. So has Drubel on for the second time tonight, and we knew he was not going to go hitless for the weekend.
Well, that's why he didn't. And you know, you hate to abuse the pigeons like that with a 5-run lead, but Asdrubal needed a knock, so we showed you some pigeons. Rally pigeon coming through for Asdrubal. Coming through all night. That's the whole family. That's Homer and his family down there.
Yeah. I get it. The homing pigeon and his family?
No, Espinosa hit a homer as soon as it landed.
Okay. Here's Lobatone, and Jose will turn around now, bat from the right side of the plate. And he's been pretty good from this side. Lobatone 14 for 58, 241, right side of the plate.
Yeah, this isn't a move the runner situation up by 5. Jose is trying to drive something, and he's looked good from the left side tonight. My work here is done. As my partner would say, see you later.
Lobatone to left. That's Kirk Neuenhuis just short of the track. Jose's had 4 pretty good ABs tonight. That'll bring in Scott Hairston with 1 out.
You could give somebody a day off tomorrow against Nice and Scott Hairston a few at-bats.
Well, you've already at least earned a split in the series. You've knocked the magic number down. You got Kevin Franzen. You got Tyler Moore sitting in there.
Well, the one thing you want to be careful of is it's not going to be all hands on deck day. That, you know, if they keep going the right direction and things keep going the way they are, that's the day after you lock things up. In the meantime, you sprinkle the days off to guys that are your horses that really need a rest, especially on a travel day. Day game after a night game. Wouldn't be surprised if Bryce plays center tomorrow and Scott Hairston plays left, but Matt Williams has a lot of options. Still want to nail down that top spot, so I don't think you ever take your foot off the gas in this whole thing, even after.
Right. When the Braves play at Texas tomorrow, that'll be Mike Minor and Colby Lewis. Texas going for a sweep over Atlanta.
You saying that and hearing it, just wow. Who would have thought that? I know I did.
Fastball up.
Close.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, you know, sometimes you give a ball club that's out of it something to play for, somebody else they can ruin for a weekend. They'll come up big, and the Rangers have done that. Another game of interest to the Nationals. They're in the 9th inning at St. Louis. Cardinals 5, Rockies 1, so they're trying to win their 82nd game. The Nats are close to winning their 84th, and so are the Dodgers, who now lead 10-0 in the 4th inning at San Francisco. And they've got, as you said, Kershaw going tomorrow. That's a breaking ball that comes back, shall we say, somewhere near the outside corner. 2 outs. Let's see this on the Mercedes-Benz pitch track.
We come back and get the outside corner. Big reach.
Closer than it first appeared.
By Darno. He gets a call.
2 outs. And Denard Span. Well, Denard got a hit taken away from him on an official scoring change. So officially 0 for 4 tonight. With a walk, a stolen base, his 31st, and 2 runs scored.
Well, then he needs a feel-good knock. Where the pigeons at?
And on a breaking ball, he can't reach it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitcher and hitter working slowly. And then the 92 goes cutting outside. And Denard Span gets a big piece of that one. Right center. It is gone into the bullpen. The Nationals lead 10-3 on Denard Span's 5th home run of the year. And where that ball went out, it's about 385 to right center.
Well, that's a feel-good knock and then some for Denard Span. So he had a hit change to an error, and he says, you know what, I'm going to check it in a big way right now. And the 5th home run of the year for Denard, and this is one of the hardest places to go out of this yard, right center field. Somebody made a heck of a grab in the bullpen right there. I can't see who it is. And watch the animated handshake with Bob Henley right here. And I'll guarantee you that had something to do with last night. Guaranteed.
And another base hit for Anthony Rendon. 4th hit of the night, 5th time he's been on base. The man is absolutely unstoppable.
I'll tell you what. Careful who you wake up.
Yeah, next time you reel in a fish, it might turn out to be a little bigger than you think.
Oh, another hit for Rendon. Let me put that in.
Terry Collins trying to keep this a 7-run game with a pitching change here in the 9th. Run lead, then Rendon right behind him. Those guys have just been incredible.
And just getting all of this one, Denard Span's hit some bombs this year too. I know he's only got 5, but there's been a few no-doubters in the bunch. And this one of the most impressive ones of the 5. Watch the catch in the bullpen. Somebody makes a great play, and then Denard very animated. And I've never seen him show that kind of emotion as he did when he went around third base, and I love it.
He was still talking as he crossed home plate.
Could have been about Rendon getting hit last inning. Could have been about what happened last night on the mound. I don't know. But there was definitely a message sent on that swing by Span, and he was talking the whole commercial break up and down the dugout to all of his teammates. And you love the swagger, you love the confidence, and you love how the Nats have answered here and seriously came to play and send a message tonight. Very impressive. That's what championship ball clubs do.
Situation like this, Matt Williams gets Jason Worth off his feet for the rest of the night, and Steven Souza Jr. will face the right-hander Eric Goodell. Souza, 1 hit with the big club this year. I talked to Aaron Barrett last weekend right after he came back to the ball club. Asked him about watching Souza every day. He said it seemed like the guy got 2 hits every game all season at Syracuse. Just had an unbelievable year. Best player in the International League. He will pop this one up a mile high, and it's back out of play. But he said his teammates just marveled day after day watching the consistency with which he hit the ball all year.
I heard the term used by one Nationals official, men amongst boys in AAA. And that's how you get to the next level, whether it's A-ball, AA, AAA. You get to the next level by showing that you're better than the level you're at.
Yeah, and that's saying something for a guy who just turned 25 back in April. But he's paid his dues. He's been in the minor leagues for almost 8 years, waiting for his chance. And a breaking ball drops in. He freezes, and this one's going to the bottom of the 9th inning. So Cabrera led off with a feel-good double. Denard Span Then 2 outs later, a more than feel-good home run.
Pretty good catch, too.
And 3 outs to get. Michael Taylor will play center field. We can't wait to watch this guy run down a couple. And Steven Souza Jr. will be in right field after pinch hitting and then staying in. And left-hander Xavier Cedeno gets to do some work here. It'll be his 7th game at the big league level this year. 1.69 ERA. 5 hits, 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, hasn't walked anybody.
And if he doesn't do anything else this season, the strikeout of Adrian Gonzalez was worth the price of admission and worth having him back up in the big leagues. And he may do some more big things in September and October, who knows, but contribute mightily in one appearance in Los Angeles, keeping that game alive with one of the best RBI guys in baseball, and striking him out with 1 out.
Curtis Granderson scheduled to lead off the bottom of the 9th, but Josh Satin will hit for him. Satin 0 for 1 career against Cedeno. And 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter in this series. Xavier delivers it over but low. .90 right in there. A lot of heaters here. And that one cutting in under the bat of the right-handed hitter. Xavier Cedeno for out number 1 here in the 9th.
Look like a little cutter down and in, and Satin right over the top at 90 miles an hour. You see the pattern, everything on the inner half.
Then he stands up, Wilmer Flores. Matt Williams Ball Club going for 3 out of 4 tomorrow here in New York. The Nats hold on to win this one. They'll be 12-3 against the Mets this year, 8-1 in this ballpark.
A couple of inside fastballs to Flores. Look at this, Bill Welke out to look at the baseball, and I wonder if he's saying anything to Cedeno. That could have been one of the most interesting trips I've seen an umpire take in a long time. Yeah. 2 inside fastballs. Instead of throwing the ball back to him, he walked it out to him and he said something.
Got him on the hands. Out goes Desmond. In comes Harper. Bryce is there. Stumbles as he makes the catch. 2 down.
I see Ian getting turned around a little bit. The wind is blowing. Bryce calls him off. A little misstep at the end, but good hustle by Bryce Harper. He went a long way for that.
Final hope of the Mets will be their rookie second baseman, Dilson Herrera. The fastball's got some cutting action on it tonight. And this one outside third. Now the Nationals a strike away from their 84th win of the year. By the way, Colorado got 3 in the 9th, but fell short at St. Louis 5-4. So they have 82 wins. The Dodgers 83. The Nationals about to grab 84. And a breaking ball in the dirt, strike 3. It'll take a throw to end the ball game. Lobaton does, and the Nationals take care of the Mets for the 8th time in 9 games in this ballpark this year.
Magic number is 6, folks. It's happening. And on a Doug Fister win, I think you can play any better. Great hitting, great pitching, great defense, all around great game. Hit the ball out of the yard, and only one thing left to say, and that's yeah, baby.
So the Nats, constant pressure on the Mets tonight. 10-15-1 Washington, 3-6-4 New York. And despite stranding 11, the Nationals still scored 10. So tomorrow's the finale, 12:30 p.m. Nats Extra, and this has been a Masson presentation. Byron and Ray in the studio. Nats Extra postgame coming up next. And from New York, see you later.